That's insane.
The only thing that like complicates by per week
On your bank account.
would be, are you also gonna do them in application?
They gotta do it again. It's a new thing. New book.
Who's not signed yet?
There's no rules. It's a new government.
Right.
They should be book update.
Something. I know the.
So fun.
I was also. First class. Cybersecurity. Yeah, that's.
So are you like working on the requirements of the project, like getting to, okay, everything's okay, or do you have any problems or questions so far in this stage? Okay, okay. But here's well, I know we don't have so many classes like left, and also because the last week, before this one we'll do the presentation, you know, we will have a presentation. Oh, also we're taking a percentage for the like final grade. So, but the things is we have the Thanksgiving like that. This so probably that week we don't have class. And I want to know, do you want to do like most of your the preference? Do you want to like I would try to arrange the time like I'm doing like face to face, like doing presentation right here. Do you want to like just change it to online? So I will arrange a time to like to only to the groups. So we just like maybe the group members join the Zoom. So in person, they want to do it like you prefer more. Okay. So I will mainly for the group present, I will let you to doing face to face, and other students they feel free to like join or stay here, or if they want to leave, or I will try to. I know if when you're doing presentation you want to maybe more interaction, maybe I will give some slightly bonus extra point if you like ask question, like talking. So the thing you like this one, then I will try to give the next thing, because I maybe probably will be the last week. That means the last week we'll be doing the presentation. That means the first week of December. Okay, so because that will be the last week for your class. So hopefully for the groups we will put enough. So around like 15 minutes per group. Okay, but I will give more details guideline. Okay, and maybe first part you can submit the some like PowerPoint, like something, some material first. So after you submit it, you can have maybe like part of the grade for presentation, and then just like I helped you to get some basic points, okay, and then you can do the presentation. So do you like the format or like doing this way, like face to face, and then last week of the December? So we have no class for the last week. So mainly we just have a presentation. Okay. Let me see if about others. So if doing like this, so I try to cover the lectures, and then I will ask, like I would like to ask after if I would like to know what's your idea, because even though it's an in-class exercise for your approach, but I want to ask like some of your opinions, like which approach you would choose for that kind of application. Okay, so I want to helping you. So if you better understanding, okay, which approach you apply. So when you move on, because we have different type of approach, and then for the project planning and project management. Okay. So for the concept, because you may be barely have a chance to really to do the planning, because maybe a supervisor, but maybe later one day. Yeah, if you're a project manager. So what are the responsibilities of the PM and also the knowledge area of like manage the project, also those like approach documents, and then the activities. Okay. So those like, so sometimes we need to ask like, what are these activities will be like coordinated, and then you need to know which task to do first, and also the work assigned to different teams and team members. And you need to know which part of the new system should be developed first. Okay, but for this, all the questions, it requires the experience. Okay, if you don't have the experience really like working on a big project or like developing on something with a team, actually this is just the idea, really hard to catch, but at least remember some keywords or idea. Okay, for the principle of the PM, so we need to know the needs for the project management, the category to define the project success. Like we say successful project, we all say on time, within budget, and on scope. Okay, and challenge the project because a failure in one area, and fail the project, we cancel or not use. Okay, so here's the how we define the category of the project success. Okay. And so far for the some reason, even it's like some still like improvement, but 1/3 or 1/2 project, they are challenged or fail. Okay. And if you look at some, especially, I know the gaming industry, they do. Have you ever seen some gaming industry, they try to announce they will launch something?
Yeah.
But they never.
Yeah, Half-Life 3, that game was announced in 2007, it still hasn't come out.
And then finally, there's nothing released, right? So I know in gaming industry it's pretty common. So it's like always good example. So you never know sometimes because the budget, like we say, out of the budget, so they couldn't apply, or they cannot deliver on time, like certain functions, certain films. Also the out of the scope, maybe more than what they designed. So in the industry, it really happened. So not only students, but like when you study, but in they have some experience, PM, leading the team, but we still have lots. And those like maybe some traditional way like LG or iterative. So we try to introduce some certain approach, like try to like increase the successful rate. Okay. So we think so those possible failure reason, maybe we didn't define the project practice, and then we have the poor IT management procedures, inadequate like execute support of the project, in experienced project managers, and clear business needs for the project objective. Also the lack of the user involvement. So all these are possible. And the role of the project manager. Okay, so maybe your supervisors or they're doing. So they try to organizing, directing other people to achieve a planned result. And also the process like used to plan the project, and then they will monitor, control. And they always need to really grading for the effective the PM, and also they internally they manage the people, and then externally they need to contacting the public relation. They always communicate with the maybe other teams, any other supervisor, boss, and user. So lots of work. Okay, for the internal responsibility. So we try to develop the project schedule, recruiting and training team members, assigning works to teams and team members, assessing the project risk, and monitor and controlling project deliverables and milestones. In the team, like that's what I worked before. So we always have called a stand-up meeting, or like we call the pub meeting. So every week. So that's like maybe for the project manager, you try to do. It's not really say strict, but because when you like one of part of the PM need to assign the work to the team members, right? So we have some called the Trello, or like some similar that one's like open source. You can use it if you try to working on your project management. You can use that one, so you can create some certain task and set the deadline, and then you can invite like other team members, let them to involve. Okay, and later I will maybe if we have enough time, I will try to showing like how to use those things so you can like better manage your work. And you can assign those like most of the time we will break down those project into different functions, or maybe depends on the features. We have like small functions, right? Those functions we will assign to the different team members, so they pick up. So you will give them the deadline, let's say complete within 1 week, 2 weeks. And if you have a deadline like every 2 weeks, and you will have a stand-up meeting. So you ask, okay, so how's your progress? And then what's your planning, or like do you have any problem like working on this function? Okay, so you will keep like tracking on the progress. Okay, if they can finish on time or they need more time, so you can extend the time. But like, do you have rooms to extend the deadline? So that's what you need to, like we call the monitoring and controlling the project. Okay, and for external, we need to report the project status and progress. Maybe any like supervisor, or if you are working on the project, is like have a client ask you to develop the application, so you need to report the status. Okay, so far we finished like certain function. What's the percentage of your project? So all this you need to report it, and sometimes directly with the client, like sponsor, the stakeholders, and then also identifying the resources. I need to obtain the resources. You need to ask, okay, maybe sometimes if in case, okay, maybe hardware, sometimes a hardware you need, like when you need to do testing or development, so you need to more hardware processing power. Okay, or if you need to training like AI model, then you need to have like some GPU, like some computer helping you to do that, then you can ask for that. And additional their project stakeholder like client, those are groups like funds the project. Especially those like entrepreneurship, they have the called the like run AB investor. So they have different group of people. Okay. Also, maybe sometimes they will ask for committees, like oversized committee. They will review your progress, keep checking. Maybe in this moment, you really hard to imagine, like if a big project, huge project, like who are the stakeholder, and just like make it simple, maybe sometimes client is okay, and user, so who are really directly use the new system. So right here, actually the project manager always so busy, so like facing to the external communities and user. And then under the project manager, we always have a team leader. Okay, so we have different teams, and those teams will be in charge different function, or some team like testing, so they will exchange. Okay, or sometimes we have the subcontractor. In the company we do, like sometimes they will outsource certain work to other subcontractor. Okay, so also it's pretty common for some company. Even for the tech company, they are able to do that, but they will outsource certain, like they will pack certain functions and then to other company. Okay, so they will hire. So that's pretty common in this industry. We have some months, and then the level of formality of the project, and then we have like higher. So we have two types, like high and low. High and low. So for high, then we will need to meetings like for the predefined schedule. So we always have schedule, and we have like certain participants, genders, like minutes. Okay, so we need to like always need to follow, and then we have a specific occasions like formal documents, all these like who I attend, who like those like all the diagrams should be included, all this. Okay, so this more like formal meeting is more like a direction milestone, like the progress of the project showing. For the lower is like just maybe like just a progress, like checking to check. Okay, so maybe you still have documentation, some formal specification, or like some models, but they will just like keep it as a minimum. Okay, we still do it, but we're not like really pushing. And also they will, the developer and user working closely together on a daily basis to define the requirements and then the development, develop the system. So you just need to have two types. And for the body of knowledge, so into like 10 knowledge area. So one is that integration management. So we need to know all the other knowledge area in the syntax whole, and then the scope management define control the functions. So they should be included in the system. Okay. And then the time management. So all the function timeline, detailed schedule of all the tasks, and then monitor the progress. Okay. And then cost. So what is the initial cost, benefits, and assess, and then the update money, the expenditures. Sometimes, okay, if beautiful software is really hard to calculate. So if I ask like for the cost management, how do you like define? If I ask you, how can you, if you ask you to develop, implement a web-based application, okay, how much would you call me, or like how much you tell? What's the cost? How do you think? How will you calculate? But there's actually no standard, or like for product, if I for pen, I can have a referral like, okay, right now for this pen or this type of pen, if only have one single color, maybe $10. And then if I have two colors, like something special, maybe have special features, I using different materials, I can sell them like $20, $30 at that quality. Okay. But how about for a project? How can you give a coach, or like what's the coach? Or how can you evaluate, like check, okay, how much? Yes.
Can you evaluate cost of project?
Yeah, okay.
You can calculate labor costs, include labor costs, cost of materials, etc.
Cost of material, okay. But if for software, okay, so what kind of materials? Or like labor cost, what kind of labor cost?
So for software, you need to, how many hours, how much a programmer costs,
How many
Okay.
programmer, okay?
you pay per hour and the rate per hour.
Okay, so it's a really good idea. So per hour, okay.
And for like equipment, and for like materials, you need like give them like computers and such a program on, and like monitor, laptops, desks, office space to program in.
Okay, so you see. Then if you base on the cost like of a pay by, then for more details, like if I don't talk about the equipment side, then because like if we are really implementing, or maybe we already have a equipment, like all the developer, they do have a monitor of compute provided. But then how can you, like, because you talk about the labor, right? Labor and then time. So for more detail, more specific, how can you calculate the time or find the time? So if I have a login, page, then how can you calculate the cost?
Also, login page.
Yeah, so we'll break down all these functions. We talk about labors, right? So let's say how many developer are you going to assign to work on the login page? How many? One, two?
Maybe two.
Okay, two. Okay, so we have two. And then how long do you think we need to implement a login page? How long or how much time will you spend on like develop a login page?
I don't know, 40 hours.
A week. Okay, so you think a week. So does it only include the front end, back end? Also, like if you know something like API server database, so is that we only include the front end design, or like because you know if we have different phase, let's say we are like, because we are tech company, we're using the approach is DevOps, the development approach. Okay, so we need to have design, right? Okay, so if I just ignore the design for video only implementation, so once we get the design and then front end, back end. So if you say 1 week is only for front end or complete everything? Everything, okay. So will be 2 developer work on everything. Okay. So that means 2 weeks. So we just assume like 8 hours per day.
Yeah.
8 hours. So
40
will
hours.
be 40. So total we will spend like 80 hours for this function login page. And what's the wages for the, that means the how much you pay per hour for your developer? Okay, let's say 60 per hour. Okay, and we have 2 developers times 2 times 80. Okay, so here will be the cost. Okay, of course, maybe you add up other specific for your maybe you need to count like maybe some other expense like electricity, maybe like water, or something else. Like you can include it, but sometimes we will add more likely maybe 30% of the cost. But later, like after this, okay. So it's called a cost management. But is it possible that we make a mistake? Yes, we do. Like we always like project like lower than what we need. Sometimes okay, we spend okay, right now we're expecting 2 weeks, but we got some bugs, or the customer say, okay, we want to modify. Okay, DevOps, so we always interact up with the customer requirements, we change it. Okay, so we change from 1 week to 3 weeks. Okay, so that means the cost like goes up like 3 times, right? Okay, and the customer say, no, I don't want to pay for that. That's your mistake. It's over budget. Okay, or you need to hurry up, like pay something. So this is called the project cost management. Okay, and quality management. So we try to make sure the comprehensive plan ensure the quality. Okay, and include all those like quality control activities like every phase of the project. So we need to evaluate, make sure they are deliver. And then we have the HR resources like recruiting, hiring, project team members, training, motivating, team building, implementing related activities that ensure happy, productive teams. So far for tech company, how much you know? Like, have you looking for some jobs, or like how much you know about software developer, like this type of job? No, like imagine like how about those maybe like those company in Silicon Valley like Apple, Google, Facebook over there, okay, or the bank, you know, some they recruit a lot. Like actually those lots of bank they recruit software developer. So they are different culture. Okay, maybe some insurance company like State Farm, maybe Geico like this. Okay, so how do you think the differences between them? For the company style, build about the communication of this. Yeah, compare, yeah. Because we have different type, because like if you are the project manager in Apple and project manager in
So State Farm might have like much like significantly less needs. I don't know, whatever product you're making. Right.
about freedoms like training, recruiting, or like how nice, like how can you motivate training? So do you think the style, how much difference? I guess because you never work, but based on your understanding, right? Or guess what's the differences? Or like have you watched the YouTube, like there's some software developer share like my day in Apple, what they doing? Or sometimes they just like working at home remotely, or sometimes they will go back to office. So do you know the style, like working style between them in the bank, or like bank and then those tech company? Yeah.
Like I know like people used to like encourage people to stay in the office, but if they moved to like more remote stuff.
No, really, yeah. So well, actually I went to, I didn't work, but I went to Apple before. I visited there, so yeah, so visit Apple. But they didn't need open their office, but just outside this Apple store. And then Facebook, they are, it's just all the buildings, and Google they do. Okay, so those they have they don't have really say they just ask you, you have to work at least like 8 hours per day, but they don't have, let's say, clock in time and clock out. Okay, so you can do it like flexible. You can come in the morning, work for 4 hours, and then you can leave, do something you like, and then you can come back to work again. Okay, so that's their style. But for bank, so you have to stay in the office, like clock in or like come back around like 10, 9 a.m. and then just keep working, lunchtime, break time, and then when you're like around like 5, 6, then you can leave. Okay. And that's what they promote. Like most of for the tech company, they will always like promoting like flexibility. Okay. I remember I studied what's the one for gaming. Something forgot the one is developing the game company. Any do you know any game company?
Oh, that's.
Valve.
Valve.
Yeah, I know Valve is very
That's
well-
why I study. So they have a one pretty special company culture. So they will set their views on their desk.
You're talking about Valve,
Well, yeah, okay.
they actually don't do that anymore, they stopped.
Yeah. So that time they try to like put all their table, their desk with the views. Okay.
Yep.
So they will let them to you see the team leaders, right? So all the developer can be the team leader. So when you assign you a project, so you pick up the project, so you will become the team leader. So you're taking care of this project, and you can let others developer, if they're interested on this one, they are feel free to join. Okay, they are feel free to join to your teams, and you need to manage that. So like at the same time, you may be the member of other team. Also, you are the project manager or the team leader of this project. Okay. And how they create the culture, like we say, how to create a culture like this. So they will order their tables, they will add in the views, so they can like move their desk, they could do something. So if today you're working with this team, you can like just move your desk to this place. Okay, you can work with them. If you want to go back to other teams, you can move your desk back to others. So if they just like promoting the culture in this way. Okay, so for the banking, what I see, because I have some, I call a tour. I visit, you know, the insurance company. It's called a Blue Shell Course. I forgot the name. Is it Blue Shell Course? I forgot the full name. Blue Cross View. I think you're using, anybody using this one. Do you know this insurance company?
Yeah.
Oh, Blue. Okay, Blue Cross. I forgot. Okay, yeah. So, you can tell the difference. Yeah, because that time I have a tour to like one is tech company, Ripple, and then one is like this one. You can tell when you walk into this place, just like so cold. This like people cool. That feeling is like it's so boring. I don't like that type of style as a software engineer. Like just go there, work, like you feeling it's just an office. Okay, so different type of style. So how can you maintain the like for this one motivating like team building and try to do the communication? So you need to know the like key. So all the team members, like if you are that type of culture, then how can you maintain the communication? Because you may be the project manager, also you may be the member of other teams, right? So how can like you can make the have some establish something like or the communication mechanism, schedule meetings, and also the risk management. So we need to identify reviewing throughout the project all the potential risk and failure and plans. So maybe you try to set up the regular meeting, weekly meeting. So make sure everything is like stay on the plan, on progress, so it will be better. All right. So you know, okay, if somebody have problem, try to ask other teammates to help to solve it. Okay, so you can catch on timeline. And also we try to developing for the position. So we have request for like proposal, evaluating the base and then writing the contrast. So try to monitor vendors' performance. So you may sometimes you will try to outsource like sending the request, and also with the stakeholders management. So try to identify, communicate with them. So with the new system, pretty similar. So right here under this, the project management, the knowledge will be total 10. Okay. So kind of you need to know at least one of the title. It's okay for the details. You don't have. And then agile project management. So it's one of the approach. So also it's included for the management. So first is about the scope. So it's not well understood, but need to be controlled. And then time management. So we need to schedule must be flexible due to the change. And cost, is more difficult to estimate. So it's really tough, like, for the cost. But so far by this way, it's like sometimes depends on the company if they are really working on certain application long time, like long enough, they will know, okay, I say for the login function, how long they will spend on, and maybe for a certain function, if there maybe probably you need to implement a new function, right? So you need to better give enough time. Okay, if you're thinking like we should able to finish it as a project manager, you should have like experience like programming. Like if you look at those requirements, like you need to already able to figure out, okay, maybe involve like certain type of things, or we need to add new features function add on this part. Okay, maybe we need to spend on 2 weeks on like research, and then try to like applying different approach, like testing with different mechanism algorithm. So maybe at least 2 weeks. Okay, then will be add up other things, maybe at least like 1 month to 1.5. Then you can give the approximately maybe for the time maybe 2 months, and then you can times 2 months. Because especially you need to think about the stakeholder. So when you coach how much in the beginning, when we start the project, I need to tell you how much, right? You is very, if there's a customer, or like if you're the company, I tell, okay, so in the mid of the development, I say, okay, I think we are kind of like over budget. Can you like, are you okay to pay more for that? Do you think as a customer, would you going to pay for it? No, definitely no. So you have to bear the cost, right? So that's why it's really hard and tough to handle this part. So always we try to like, especially in add a little bit like certain percent. So we call the risk. Also, it can be kind of like risk management. In case like we cannot meet the deadline, we need to extend it. Also, we will keep the customers saying, okay, maybe we are expecting we can finish within 1 month, but I will tell our customer we will complete within 2 to 3 months. Okay. Also, one more important thing, like in a company, if you're a tech company, you maybe have 3 or 4 projects working on the same time. Okay, so they may be one for one developer. They maybe pick up maybe 3 or 4 functions, yeah, within that month, and then pretty close deadline. So if they're doing, actually, you're barely doing like that, because most of the company culture, you only assign one task or one function to them. Okay, you can mix up, but barely. So if you are belongs to that team, you will just like follow that project. Okay, if we really mix up all the project together, I think that company culture have some problem. Also, the PM, this PM, the project manager, have our biggest like responsibility. They need to bear, like it's kind of like impossible to like let the developer have like multiple jobs, like different project. But for sure they will mix up. Yeah. That's why before I working for one company too, like I have to in charge like so many things. Sometimes I have to communicate with the customer, and then sometimes I need to work on the documentation and implement. And then if we have some project comes in, so they say it's more rush. But that was a small company, so we have to do everything. Yeah, even the project manager have to work with us together, like programming, like coding together. So we just think, okay, this one is have more time, so we can like just hold it first, and then let's do this first, and we have to deliver to the customer. Always happen. So inside company, so even you plan about all these things, and as a follow-up, as a quality. So when you really work on everything, how can we like try to check the quality of your work? Or how can you evaluate the quality of each iteration, right? For quality management? How can you manage the quality? How can you say, like for a product, you can look at it, like we say the QC. quality check. So if you look at the maybe if for hardware you test it, make sure the circuit they're working fine. For the design, it looks like no faults, defects, right? But how about software function, if only part of it? How can we do the quality management?
Tester,
Okay, tester,
just
okay.
to use whatever it is. and to work on it.
Mhm. That means we have to pay for it, right?
Yeah, it's like a finance.
Mhm. Okay, so we test it or something, okay, different. Or can we do like cost check? Cost check. So if I have two teams, if I big enough, two teams, and then I will pass our each works, like let's see, quality check makes, maybe if we have documents, functions, we'll pass to another team to check, so, but it increase the workload. And so as a project manager, you need to decide about it, okay. But this one also will maybe affect the quality. So if you want to save the cost, but also guarantee the quality, it can be one of the possible way, or let the professionals to do it. They're really doing testing, checking, can be one way. And other scope. So, okay, for the really high priority functions, will be a core function or they have to deliver. So when you need to define the scope, so you need to set the priority. So who are the highest or the low? Okay, then what should you implement first? Okay, so sometimes maybe you look at some function, maybe simple. Let's say even for the loading screen, like we call the splash. So for the apps, right? Mainly the apps, like when you open the app, we will see some maybe some is like animation or just the logo. It pops up within 1 or 2 seconds, right? So it also count into the implementation. Also, it will like for the cost. Okay, but sometimes we will only count for 2 days. Okay, so if for this, will you putting it as a high priority or low priority? It's pretty easy, but high low. Because you can finish quick. But that's your decision per manager. I cannot say sure. Because you think, okay, you can finish within 2 days, then yes, yeah. Or you can want to show something to the to your customer or stakeholder. Okay, something it works, even though it's just I tap on the app and then don't have the logo, have some sign. At least they say, okay, okay, we have something. Okay. Then you think, okay, I put it as a first priority. For the rest, you can do it later. So you can spend the first 2 days, finish this function. That okay. Then you don't think about that. Okay. Or at least maybe the homepage, maybe like with higher priority. So at least you can do demonstration, show it. Then how can you call the quality management? How can you like check the quality of this app? Then you can think about it. So this is all the script and priority. For all the core process, we need to identify the problem, obtain the approval. So right here, you know, the pretty similar to our different the approach. So we're telling that in the beginning. So what the problem? So we're working on this part. So we have identified the problem in the beginning. So we're doing the development. Usually we need to like respond to an opportunity. So we have different type of strategy like initiative, and then sometimes something that provide competitive advantage. And then we try to resolve a problem, and those like operational issues can keep like coming up. So always, so never end. After you deliver your application is not yet. So there's a need not being met. Okay. Also, we need to respond to external directive. So the legislations requires new form of reporting or changing in test law or regulation, external things, features. Okay. And you will see something like the law they require you. Obviously, I remember before they change. Sometimes that we are working on the Apple. I barely working on the app, the Play Store, the Android side. So you see the Apple, they always change, not Apple. That one is not the law, but the Apple themselves, they will change the their policy regulation. Okay, so if you're a tech company working on the maybe iOS app, and sometimes they will change the policy, so you need to change it, like follow them. Okay, so maybe sometimes they maybe some in-app purchase, maybe the login. Okay, so I remember that time after they allow Apple login, they using their Apple ID or like they will hire original you need to provide, if you only implement your own like using email password is okay, but if you try to use the API, let's say using Facebook login and Google login, okay, these two, okay, if you try to use these two like called the external API to log in, they require you to add the Apple login. Okay, so if you try to add the Google or Facebook, then you have to add it. If you didn't implement the Apple login, they will reject your submission. So you cannot submit your application. They won't let you to launch it. Okay, so that's their regulation. So we always need to respond to those regulations. Okay. And for the identify the problem like system visions, so those documents like what the problem, you need to describe it, and what's the capabilities, what will they have, and then define the scope, and then business benefits. So they will accrue to the organization. Also like the tangibles or like intangibles benefits, like about money, something. Okay. Okay, so prediction. So right here, the sample of the system vision document. But mostly it's an example in your project, you don't have to do that, just need to know, or just for this class, okay, for this class, okay. But I understood all this, you may not really need. And right here, breakdown, so what's the problem? Okay, but you do, at least for your project, like when you're doing this one, maybe I ask you to give me the background or like the topic, so you need to introduce, or like if you want to, I would say recommend to always like based on the existing company or application, or like if you try to create a new one, you will try to give me the problem, right? So what's the problem in behind, and then you try to add a new feature to solve it. Okay. So that's why I need to give the problem description. So, okay, so right now the sales and marketing on the reps, they changed drastically, like since the CSS was built, so they want a more like sophisticated. So they want to use the catalog to access system. They're easy to use and provide many services, like one click like this. Okay, hearing the problem. And then second, what's the capability? So they are able to, I say, provide a shopping cart, and then support the customer sales, and then like this, and then include a comprehensive order fulfillments. They can have multiple or split order shipping tracking, like this tracking, and then provide a custom account building, order history, all these things, and then marketing function like promotion, like rigid promotion, flexible promotion, QR code tracking. Do you have some points, rewards points? Okay, so we will add this, like this your and then what's the purpose like for this business, like, so it's mainly the goal is what the benefits when you implement this one. Okay, so you can tell like capabilities, and then just increase the size, always like increase the purchase frequency, and then certifications, product recommendations, so all these, so forth, so on. Okay. So how can we qualify the project approval factors? So we need to estimate the time for completion. So let's say we have the subsystem. So we break the big system to a small system like subsystem. So what are the functional requirements? So you can give a numbers. So we try to quantify all these things. Otherwise, it's really hard to measure. Okay. So how much time, cost, everything. So we try to quantify, and then iteration required, and then estimate the time, 20 weeks. Okay. So based on 20 weeks, then we can tell like how many developer course. Okay. Salary, including everything of this. And after you finish all these things, we can give the estimates cost for development. Okay. Salary. So we call the wages, benefits like this. Okay. Total amount. So what are the equipment? So just like what they say, equipments you need to have installed, and maybe you need to provide training facility, utility, or these travels. Yeah. Sometimes you need to send a representative, developer, or some we call the technical staff to go to our client's company, and then have some seminar course to show them how to use the system. Okay, you need to provide maybe at least maybe 10 courses of trainings, training courses to teach them how to use the system. Okay, showing all the features. Okay, maybe you need to prepare the video. So all this. So add up everything will be the total, will be the cost, and then estimate the cost for support. Okay, for long-term support. So are you providing 1 year? So do they need to purchase it, or does it include it? So all this you need to consider. Okay. And then for the one more anticipated benefits from the new system. So he's like open new markets and then increase the market share, and that's the cross sales. So here's the more likely all the benefits like you can bring to from the new system, like reduce the error rate, reduce the bad account. Okay, so right here, tangible dollar benefits right here. Maybe we will prevent the lost sales, increase the sales from existing customer sales. Then you say, how can we get this number? Because someone is like not just a number, or say, okay, how can we capture a prevention of the loss, and then we give the amount, or cost and benefits, or we have different type. Well, we have the cost benefit analysis, net present value, NPV, and then like break even point. So break even point, we put it as like for the new startup. So we ask like, point of time we can have like our cost or like, and then the income will be balanced. Okay, for income or payback period. Okay. How can we tell or capture? Like if as a project manager, if you need to tell the cost from this one. Or like if I want to tell show you the benefits or cost saving. If I want to say sales to new customer, increase the efficiency of the processing, how can I get those amounts? You cannot just guess a number. Okay, maybe I want to put 1 million, 10 million. You cannot make it by wild guess, right? So you should have something to support you to give this amount. Then how?
Metric rate, like how fast the process is currently, and then how fast you can make it, and then figure out how much do you save for doing it.
How much is that efficient, or maybe like sales to new customer. Okay, if I want to target a new customer, maybe actually we have some statistic. So we call the conversion rate. Actually, if you Google it looking for online, so lots of things, like all this data, they are open and to public. Okay, so they will tell you most of the online store, what's the conversion rate. Okay, maybe if they are coming from the searching engine, we direct to the your website. Maybe something I remember long time ago, maybe around 10 to 30%. Okay, so that means that only if you have a 100 customer, like really click on, if you're doing like maybe using Google AdWords, social media pop-up. So if it shows up to 100 people, so only maybe I say only 10 people will really click on it, go into your online store, and then how many of them will add the product to cart, and how many will change those add to cart action to purchase, make the payment. I didn't really follow the latest, but remember that I'm doing is around 3%. Okay, so 3% is really good number. Okay, you may think, okay, this is crazy, like 3% is really less. But for the most online stuff, 3% is a really good conversion rate. Okay, so some people, if they can go up to double 6%, that's crazy. Okay, and you can base on this one. So statistic, because as the you should monitor or getting, of course, you can base on, if you are a startup, like entrepreneurs, like start a new business, you can refer to this like statistics. Or if you are already try to create a new system, then you can base on the data you have. Okay, because you will say how many customer. Sometimes because they based on you can check the IP address. If you are using the Google Analytics, then they will tell you, okay, how many return customer, how many new customer. Okay, so those how many new customer convert to your like make a purchase. Okay, all these are the numbers. So based on this number, you say, okay, in average, how much they pay for their order. Okay, how much they pay for it. You can just make an average. You can calculate. Okay, so in average, all the customer will spend $100 on their order, and then we have total maybe really good 90% of customer comes in. Only we have 10%. But if we increase, like if we try to create a new system, make a really big checkout system right here, checkout. Okay, or make a really convenient. Okay, so one page checkout. So card and then click button, you can check. Okay, so we may expect that we can double it. Okay, so we add 3% more. So from 3% to 6%. So we can tell, okay, when now sell to new customer, we can approximately increase like this. Then this how can we do the estimation? Okay. And all the other type of analysis right here. So tangible benefits. So we will tell like measure estimate in terms of the dollars intangible benefits. So accurate, but they cannot be measured the quantity or estimate accurately. Just tell me approximately. Okay. Cost benefits analysis. So we just like using the present value. So maybe after the discount factor of all the dollar value, and then estimate the useful life of the system. Okay. So we tell the NPV after 5 years will be like this, or payback period in like how long? It's like 2 years. Okay. So in the beginning, what's the maybe first we most of the time we'll spend on development, some course. Okay, so year 1, so most of them maybe year 2, so we will get some kind of like benefits, returns, still have cost, some other expense, and then not able, and then year 2, okay, almost, and year 3, okay, so we finally have a like break even, and then get the payback after 2 years later. Okay. Year 3, then we are able to have some like incomes, and then when we add all together, so what's the NPV after 5 years? Okay, we need to give the table like this, and some examples of intangibles and benefits, so we can increase the level of the service. Those we cannot measure. Okay, but maybe you can using the feedbacks or like customer service to that we check it, so we know how can we increase the level of service and customer certification. So also like survivals, I need to be compete. Also need to develop in-house like expertise, such like pilot program of the new technology. Okay, we're showing how to use it, and we'll try to stop right here. So we would determine the project risk and the feasibility. So we determine organizational risk or like the feasibilities. So how well does the new system like fit the organization culture? So is any negative impact we need to consider? Because nothing is like in the beginning you want to introduce a new system, but it didn't give a good, it may have a impact to the culture. So in the thing, so what's the technological risk? So can it be like by the team using technology needs, like training available? Can we access the resources? So, and also do we need to have some schedule risk identified? So can the system like building in the amount of time available? Okay, do we have a fixed deadline? So all this. Let's see, we have a time. Okay, still have. Then I'll try to cover more, and then we will try to review this part, and then I want to go back. Okay, I will stop at this page, and then I want to ask some your idea about the approach, like the in-class exercise, if somebody is doing. So we need to review with the clients and obtain the approval. So we have some like executive committees like review, approve, and then the boss must review, approve, like for a large project. Okay, so involve the stakeholder, need to understand what is the expected of them. And then the IS department needs to know what to do for staffing, and then support the whole organization should be made aware of the project and its importance. Okay. So I will stop right here. So just know, and I would like to ask your opinion. So for the project, I give you the in-class exercise for a week, so we can do it. I'm just thinking if you want to implement, like here's a background, so called a web-based task management application. Task management. So just like, okay, we can create a new task, update the task, delete the task, put them into different category, and then set a deadline, assign the people, like pretty similar as a maybe PM, okay, project management. So you can use web-based, okay. So if for this one, which approach are you going to choose? If you look at anything about it, you can tell me if you need some time. Then I will give you some time, we can discuss. Also after discussion, then if you are not yet submit, because I'm not yet check. But if you are not yet check, submit, then we can after discussion, you can modify and submit. Okay. I will give you some time, or do you think about it, or which approach would you prefer to use? Waterfall, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. And how many of you will choose waterfall? Others? How about others? No. And others? Okay. And how about others? Okay. So, okay, let's say right now we have two. So you say because start with the waterfall first. Okay. So, if we follow the waterfall, let me use the short, this one. Okay. Because waterfall, you remember everything just like linear, sequential. We have to finish all the tasks. Okay. Then you're thinking for this one, we already have a really clear requirement. So what's the phase one like two? So we already gave you. So what's the phase one? Yeah. So if you're using waterfall, okay, waterfalls, then so in each phases, how will you do? And then what's the key deliverables? That means like after this phase, okay. So what kind of things as the output? You're thinking like what kind of thing important is like coming as the output?
Okay. I would just say like the ability to create all these different tasks.
Because I already give you the background like creating. So for the requirement, suppose it will be the documents of those like use case, right? Documents like telling use case like create, update, delete, right? So because I already give you the requirement, so but you can put it like put it down. So it's a phase one. So we need to get the requirements. Okay. Okay. And what's the next step? So what's the deliverable? So what's the key deliverables after phase one? After phase one, what's the deliverables? This one. Let me show me. Okay. So what's the key deliverables? Mm-hmm. Okay. Mm-hmm.
It depends on what you mean by living.
Just like there were sometimes just like maybe some if you remember project management two. And maybe I didn't put it in the exercise. Okay, one database. I think it's pretty previous. design activity. Please order. Here we need to identify like of course we need to tell the user stories like what do they need to do. So after that we will have a use case, right? So entities, relationship, those like then we will try to maybe you will create some diagrams and then maybe the flow, how to use it. And those like what they expected, like the users, what they want to use, those use case. You can put in this part. Okay. And then, okay, so mainly will be documents. Okay, mainly will be the documents of this thing of the requirement. And the next, what's the next phase?
I don't know. Organizing teams and like assigning roles, like, are we done with diagrams, like, are we designing it?
Design. So what's the design? We need to create the system architecture and then design the specifications. So for this one, we will mainly, okay, what's the system architect? You may we use the like the phrase, the sentence like this, but if Bill right now, I give you more the like the architecture of the web approach for the web, and all those like the specification. Okay, so if we have the create function, what may be required. How can we do it? Like, do we need to pass something, parameters for the return values, or this like design? Okay. And after we finish the design, then we will move on to the third stage, which will be implementation. Just put on the code, write the code and compile it away. That's it. Okay. So this one you can read it. So pretty straightforward. Okay. And Bill actually in the question I asked the team. So you need to think about, and then verification, or sometimes we call it testing, the testing phase. Okay. This one you can use testing or verification is okay. So just like test the system, test all the function. And in the question I asked you was the teams, how will you manage the teams? So if like this, just briefly, how would you like what the role of teams, what they need to do?
We have like, you're finding that in,
Mm-hmm. Okay.
fine,
Okay.
makes sense to usually when it's simple and you understand.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this is the UI belongs to the design or implementation. Okay, because for UI, but after we design the UI, then we need to implement it, right? Implement the front end. So okay, that's it. Okay. So we have two teams. Okay, like front end, back end, two parts. Okay, good. Yeah, just like this one sentence is good enough. Okay. And then when you choosing the approach, and then do you think it's like possible when you like using this approach? Any possible challenge?
Maybe something fixes it manager, like. Unexpected.
Someone just think about what's the pros and cons, right? So this one is like uncertain. So do you think we have uncertain requirements? Or maybe it's like, is it possible we're going to change something? But you know, the waterfall is we never go back to previous phases or like go back to the beginning.
Right.
So after we finish the implementation, no, like let's say we finish the design, we are not never go back to design.
Yeah.
So once we finish the design, we will pass all the design, like also the documentations, like showing also if for UI, the graphics, so we have all the layouts. So we will pass it to the front-end developer. Okay. So once the front-end developer receive it, if you figure out the design is not good enough, then you're still working on it. So let's finish it. Don't think about it. So if you're the developer and then you're working, okay, it looks like it doesn't make sense, but you're still working on it. Because you know you never pass this one, return it back. Okay. So you can like have a take it or give a memo or later in the meeting later. After you finish it, pass for testing, okay, let it done first. But in the later in the meeting, you can raise up this problem. Okay, then we can go back and ask the user, okay, after they test it, okay, how do they think? Or you don't really care about it. But of course, like in the other phases, like let's say for the design, maybe if you want to let the user to approve design, most of the time for the UI, so you will pass it to the user first or a stakeholder. Okay, how do you think this? Do you like it? Most of the customer they don't know. I said, okay, it looks nice, right? So when you give the design like this, say, okay, it's perfect, nice. But once you really implement, they say, this is not what I want.
Yeah.
Okay, it always happen. Or sometimes if you complete this part, let's say you have a login page or the homepage, okay, you after you implement, okay, you let the user to try to use it, they say, I don't like this. This is not what I expected. This one. They say you approve the design, but you cannot go it back. Okay. Just like revise it. So you need to go back to the defer, and then the customer need to like go back to requirement again, and then like what they want to update. So this one is waterfall. Okay. Then how about another approach for the LG for this one? How about this one? How will you do? How can you apply this approach for the project scenario?
Maybe talk to the customer, see what their requirements are, and just try to get something running as soon as possible and before that.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Uh,
That's the best thing. I would figure out what the customer needs.
Mhm.
Select which part of the problem that we want to solve first, and tackle that. We do the first strike, and we got another part of the project, and keep out the customer part out is we want potential issues with everyone. And that was for the nice part for why I don't use it a lot of times.
Okay. Yeah, because this one we don't have really strict like structure. So basically, when you like involve all this part, so what looks is okay. So you say it's more like flexible, right? So flexible, but you need to have more interaction with the customer. So when you set the like, so maybe you say the sprint, the focus, or daily stand-up meetings for the team. Okay, you may be setting okay for this approach. So we will have a set of meetings, or like for the PM, the project managers, will try to like break down all those like functions, and then let the developer or someone you can assign or let them to pick up their like the function they would like to implement. Okay, and then you will try to create a weekly stand-up meeting. So maybe every 2 weeks you will meet with customer, and then like to get some feedback, or like after commission, then you will have a meeting with them to receive the feedback. So testing go back, so you can like reverse back. So it can be. Well, because for this one we don't have a different from the water. We have a really strict like plans, schedules. We need to follow it. We don't have it. And if you because we need to really have a really high good advantage at the abilities to change the requirements, so you can change like getting feedbacks. So you just like mainly you should able, how can you how will you set up the meetings, or how will you obtain the customer feedback? So if you're able to tell this one, and for the Western, you can also tell like for implementation, like pick up the stories the functions, then give the answer. Okay, then you need to like for the proper management. So you need to think about how can you create a culture like stand up. How can you build a or give the regular stand up meetings? Okay. And anyone want to propose other modules, or are you going to apply? No, but this one is pretty straightforward. Like it's not that complicated, so you don't have to maybe not develop spiritual models. And hopefully you can use this one. Therefore, the DevOps more like is like called a CI/CD. So it's like you need to keep on like develop, and then in operation, and then you can add new features. But for this one, it's not really you can, but I don't think you have that high chance need to like update regularly. Okay. So that's why this two will be make sense. I would say it makes sense to use this two approach. Okay, so that's it for this discussion. So I think I give you a week of time so you can just like finish the report. Pretty simple. You don't have to like write a really long essay, like tell everything. So just like tell me, okay, if you use this approach, what's the phase one, phase two, what they doing? And then just give me 1 or 2 sentences to describe, tell me, okay. So just hopefully we can know more about the flow or how can we get. Okay, and it's almost time. So that's it for the project development.